At 13, I was thrown out of the Boy Scouts as an incorrigible. At 15, my parents tried to have me put in a reform school in North Philadelphia, and after 3 interviews, they declined. At 17, I flunked conduct in my senior year at Monsignor Bonner, and that meant automatically by protocol that you repeated the next year. After a discussion with my parents, the Augustinian father said, "We really don't want him back. We'll give you the diploma." At 19, my parents threw me out of the house and onto the street. Fortunately, God had blessed me with a very live arm as a kid, and I had gotten a full scholarship for baseball to LaSalle University, and I made my way through. But my senior year, my coach, whom I love, one of my dearest friends today, threw me off the baseball team, and I was the top of the rotation guy. I had won like 2/3 of my games. Imagine what I must have been like to manage, to coach, that he had to throw me off to make an example. At 23, the girl I had picked to marry was told by her dad and her mom not to do it. It would be a major mistake. My mother told her not to do it. It would be a mistake. She asked my father. My father said, "Yeah, go ahead, do it. Why should we have all the fun? Let's spread some of the suffering around." And the priest that I selected to marry us told her not to go through with it. And he was my own uncle. At 25, my wife prayed to God to change my heart in some way, because she said later, and I didn't know this at the time, if he didn't, she would leave me. The business I was in, the same business Tom's in, the advertising business, you had to go to Mecca, and that meant New York. So I moved the family, 5 kids, up to New York, and I took a job with a spiritual advisor's blessing, and maybe even a little bit of encouragement to introduce home box office. When I went up, 1 in 4 movies were R-rated. A couple years, half were. A couple more years, 3 in 4 were. They had a business problem, and the business problem was that about half the people that subscribed disconnected every year. And they asked me to go out and find out why, and I did. And the people said, and it was mothers really who were buying this. Actually, the fathers made the decision, but it was the mother's job to either continue paying or discontinue. And after about 6 months, they discontinued because the husband realized those movies that he thought were great weren't too great. I asked in these focus groups throughout the country, I would ask these women, why'd you disconnect? And they said, we don't want that sewer running through our living room. We don't like our children being exposed to it, and we really deeply resent our husbands being exposed to it. I went back and told them. And they said, your job is to create advertising that creates demand for this product, okay? You need to go back and put a campaign on there that says home isn't home without home box office. And I said, you're not listening. You're not listening to your own customer. They're telling you home isn't home with home box office. They didn't like that. This infuriated the head of programming, who was an icon in Hollywood at the time. I won't mention any names. And he succeeded in getting me fired. We had a big bank in our sights, and I really was pitching them hard. And I get a phone call one day, and they say, and I'm not going to mention any names, bank run by a Catholic. Catholic calls me and says, got an opportunity for you. I'm going to give you an assignment. Little one, pro bono. You do it, you handle it well. I'm going to take care of you. Thank you, Lord. What's the assignment? Women's Way. Women's Way, they need some marketing and advertising help, especially your marketing council. You know anything about Women's Way? I'm thinking this. Yeah, I got arrested there last Easter. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. So I said, yeah, I'm well acquainted with it. I do. I know Women's Way. Let me get back to you. Here's the deal. I can't see me doing it, and yet I can't see me not doing it. I feel a tremendous responsibility for these kids, these young people in this ad agency. They have husbands, they have wives, they have children, a lot of them. They need these jobs.